Welcome back, everyone. Today we're doing a different kind of video where we're gonna do a meta breakdown and we're gonna give you some insight as to what's probably gonna happen into the next Treasure Cup that is gonna happen here in Dallas this weekend, actually coming up. So if you're preparing for that Treasure Cup, there's some things that you should keep in mind as I'm gonna go through this list, and I'm trying to go through what you should be preparing for the most part. The first thing here we have a Green Kid, of course, the most represented deck on the format, on the floor at least, and with the highest conversion rate into day 2, taking out, I believe it was 11 places out of the top 16, and because of that, you should expect this number to actually go up. You're gonna probably see a couple more, probably 200 people playing Kid at Dallas event, since he has been performing very well. And now with like what happened on this one event, it probably just increases the playability of the deck. Probably 150 people, but if you're gonna see this, for my own experience on the tournament, at the beginning I only saw like one Zoro, one Kaido, and then for the rest of the tournament I only saw green. I only saw a bunch of mirror matches. So on the top tables you can expect to see a lot of Green Kids decks, a lot of mirror matches. I know Andrew also himself play a lot. I think I play 6 mirror matches, Andrew play 5. So if you're gonna play Green Kid, be prepared for that. Tune your deck a little bit more for the mirror match, without like leaving the other decks unprepared for the other decks. You still have to be prepared for aggro and for Kaido and for all these decks, but also just increase your chances against the mirror match, because as soon as you hit that wall, you're gonna have to keep consistently playing against mirror matches, and these are hard mirror matches when you're playing Kid versus Kid. It's something that it doesn't come down to luck. It just comes down to who has the more patience and who has the better. Sometimes you do draw like an insane curve, and that helps a lot. But it's still, even then, it comes down to a lot of patience and a lot of who's doing the most efficient plays every turn, because it goes to a long game on this guy. So yeah, if you're playing green, just expect that for Dallas. Zoro, I actually expect this to go down. People play this leader right now because it's a good leader, don't get me wrong. But right now it's not the best leader for the meta, since Green Kid is all about like stopping Zoro. Green Kid is the worst matchup for Zoro, unless you build your deck in a different way, which at that point is better to play the Luffy. But I digress. The red Zoro, people usually play him because Zoro is a beloved character, but I expect these numbers to go down a little bit and Luffy to overtake this Zoro, just because he didn't see any top, and the tops that he has seen in other tournaments had been a one person, or like it just barely makes it there. So there is no reason to play Zoro if there's a better red leader. Purple Kaido, I actually expect it to go up from this, because if people are going to be playing Luffy, if people are going to be playing Kid, if people are going to be playing Law, then there is no reason why you shouldn't play Kaido. Even though red is sometimes a bad matchup for Kaido, big red, like with all those Changs and 7 drops and all these cards that are too expensive, that's an easier matchup for this deck, because you do have removal for those cards. You can remove all these pesky big creatures, and you eventually flip the script on them, where now you have to protect your life because you're gonna die, and they don't have as many blockers, so it's easier for you to kill them when you're playing this deck. So I do expect some Kaidos to increase on value. If it's a good meta call actually to play some Kaidos. Yeah, you're gonna. I mean, I don't expect you to do draw island or do perfect like through the 9 tournaments, but you can do at least X2 with Kaido and still top, X1 probably too, and still top, because the deck is that powerful against these strategies that are being going around. Also, we have red Luffy is the best red deck right now. Is really strong into Kid most than anything, but it's also good, decent against everything else. It's not like the worst matchup. It's not like the worst deck, I mean. It has some great answers against the A drop, which is the main problem against everything. It's probably gonna have a hard time against Flamingo for the most part, but Flamingo is like you can see here, it was 40 decks, 8% of the meta. It wasn't that high, and it wasn't that seen at the top tables. It was, I think, 1, 2, or 3. And there weren't that many. I don't know exactly how many there were, but at the top tables, the only thing that I saw was green. Sometimes blue here and there, but like it was sporadical. I saw a little Luffy at the top table, and I saw a couple of Kaidos at the top tables too. Then, and of course, the next one, which is red green law, which is another one that I expect to go up because it was a good deck, and it's a good deck against Cade, and you can build your deck to be like slant your favor to be against Cade. You can play more jet pistols. You can play maybe 3, not full 4. I don't think Law is a deck that wanna play 4, but at least 3 increases more. Like you can kill their Basil Hawkins. You can kill Otama jet pistol, the A drop, and you can just do a lot of with the 3 jet pistols, right? You can increase you can play maybe your own A drop because it offers you your more value against the mirror green, where you just, if we're battling between the A drops and my A drop is harder to kill than yours, then you got a lot of value that way. So yeah, it's a decent deck that if green gets up, this deck can also go up because it's really good against green. And but if there's also going to increase the number of Kaidos, you're also going to do a little bit worse against those decks. So be prepared for those 2 matchups more than anything, and have a plan against those 2 decks. Red should not be that difficult if you're playing Law. If you have playing some counters, you're faster than them usually, and you can overwhelm them, which it shouldn't be that hard of an issue when you're playing Law. So if you're gonna play Law, that would be my advice. If you're going to play Flamingo, well, you're gonna have a hard time if you're gonna see all green kids all day. A drop is your worst enemy. Can you beat it? Yes, but it's still gonna be difficult. You still have to see your cards correctly. If you miss a bit, you're gonna lose. So I would not personally bring Flamingo just because of the meta right now, which is gonna be a lot of green kids, or at least what I expect to be. But if you still want to bring it, that's fine. It's going to do well against the other decks. Of course, it's going to do against red. It's going to do very well. It's going to do very well against purple, and everything else that is random in between. So if you are confident with Flamingo, you can still bring it. I just wouldn't, because green kid is too much of a hassle, and any good decent player is just going to be able to give you a hard time or even beat you, because the A drop is just that good against Flamingo. And if we have here the next ones, I don't expect them to go up or down. People are gonna play because they like the leaders. Let's look into the top 16 just to make sure that I didn't miss any decks. Okay, so here in the top 16, it's pretty much what I expect to be the meta over there. If you are expecting the mirror match that much, prepare for that one. The main thing, if you're playing green kid, I expect them to do very well again. If you're gonna bring green kid into 9 rounds, is very good deck into this meta. It's just really good. But if you planning to bring Luffy, it's also a good pick if this is the best deck. Again, the best thing that you can do when you're preparing for a big event like that is just tune your deck to what the meta is moving towards. Anticipate what's gonna happen, because that's just what most people are gonna play. Now, however, it could change based on regions. Maybe something like we're here at Florida, maybe we play more kids. It has happened in other games where here in Florida we have a different meta. For example, in Dragon Ball, when people come to play here, the meta is a little bit different than when we go to play it somewhere else. So I don't know if that skews the results one way or another. Maybe it was just an outlier where Kid did very well because we were playing here. That could be another reason. So keep that in mind when you are also preparing for the tournament. But we don't have enough data on that as of right now. to just be able to compare if that's just the case here. That we don't have enough big tournaments here. We haven't had enough big tournaments to where like, oh yeah, every time we come here, there's just gonna be a kind of weird meta when you come here to Florida. But besides that, that's all I wanted to talk about. If you're gonna travel, uh, I hope you enjoy. It was a blast to be on the Treasure Cup. I met a lot of people. If you do come down here, if you do see me anywhere, just you can talk to me. You can say hi. I love to speak with someone. I met a lot of people who were happy that I was making videos, and Andrew, of course, and they congratulate us on the placements that we got. Yeah, it was a blast seeing you all there. Please subscribe. Let us help get to the 1,000 people's mark so we can start doing some better content for you guys. Yeah, and that's all that you have to for today. Thank you for watching.